You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
How old is Sambar as a recipe? Why do people like it so much? Why has Ratna Cafe and MTR and South India in general and Tamil Nadu in particular become synonymous with Sambar? Oh, and how in the world do you make it? You're listening to Southern Slurp, where I introduce you to recipes that have shaken the kitchens of South India and stirred taste buds across the world. I share origin stories of these food items, myths that will blow your mind, and of course, recipes that will blow you away. Southern Slurp is on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. Catch more episodes in our playlist. I hope you're listening to it as you're having lunch. If not, I do hope you're on your way, because you're going to get real hungry real soon. Whether you think of idli, dosa, vadai or rice, the only logical accompaniment is, of course, the sambar. And that is what we're taking stock of today. Stock. Get it? Anyway. Hey Sambar, how old are you? There's actually a Malayalam film by the same name. How old are you? And it ends with this question, to which the heroine, played brilliantly by Manju Warrior, replies, it doesn't matter. I agree with her in the film. And it sort of applies to sambar too, because like the Indian civilization itself, the sambar has been extremely dynamic. It has changed form from something as simple as boiled dal with some spices added to a complex recipe that's not easy to cook and holds within it different layers of tastes and textures. Today's sambar is of course made with sambar podi or sambar powder, and it's important you know how to make this podi because you can stock it and use it not just to make sambar but to spice up a number of recipes. Listen to Priya Ramkumar as she reads out the recipe from Samaithuppar, the first ever Tamil cookbook written by her great-grandmother-in-law, Meenakshi Ammal.
Usually sambar powder comes from basic main ingredient is coriander powder and chili powder. Coriander seeds is about 3 cups and the red chili is about 10 to 12 cups. Then red gram dal is about 3/4 cup. Bengal gram, that is the chana dal, is about a handful. And black gram dal, that is ulitham paruppu, that is 1 cup. Pepper, that is 1/4 cup. Then turmeric, which is a varali manjal in Tamil, it's 20 grams. Fenugreek seeds, vendayam, half of a handful, which is coming to 1/8 of a cup. Curry leaves, which are either dry or fresh, and some oil. Like generally in most of the South Indian cooking, you use gingerly oil, sesame. So this oil means mostly sesame. That is 7 to 8 teaspoons. So the basic thing is, in a big thick kadai, you put some oil. And then you fry one by one, shallow fry one by one coriander seeds, till they give out an aroma nicely. But it should not brown them. But it should become reasonably hot. And then, transfer it to another one big thali or a plate. Then, again, shallow fry the red chilies. And then, shallow fry all the dals, which is really red gram dal, then Bengal gram dal and black gram dal. And the other varli manjal and the fenugreek and the pepper you can fry separately. And the curry leaves in the last slightly. Just roasted, dry roasted. Altogether very well. Because that is very important. Roasting them well is very important. Once the aroma comes, then you can remove it from the pan and then mix all together and give nicely, powder them. And this will keep very well for more than 2 to 3 months. And one thing which I would like to add is turmeric these days, if you add, it gets a lot of, so bugs start coming small. So generally what I do is, I don't add turmeric in the sambar powder. Whenever, I make sambar or rasam or any sabji, I add separately organic turmeric, which I generally buy, or I can make it at home.
Samaithuppar, translated later to Cook and See, has been the go-to cookbook for nuclear families in the 60s through the 90s. Not impressed? Hear me out. Julia Child, the legendary American celebrity chef, introduced French cuisine to the Americans in a cookbook she published in 1961. This was when the US was still riding the golden age of economic growth. The second wave of feminism had started and the gay rights movement had picked up steam. 1961. Samait Tapar was first published in 1951. Meenakshi Ammal beat Julia Child to it by a decade. India at the time was just 4 years old as an independent country. It didn't have a constitution yet, and Meenakshi Ammal was a widow in her 50s. That's what makes Samait Tapar more than just the first South Indian cookbook. Listen to Priya Ramkumar talk about her great grandmother-in-law. Pun intended.
So my father will be very proudly talking about his mother, who died quite early. About the age of 52, she died. I think, but she also had a very hard life, tough life. She got married at very young age, but 16 to 17. She had a young boy. She delivered a young boy, but 18, 19-year-old. But so happened, she was widowed at 21. Wow. The widows weren't well received in the society. I mean, they couldn't move around freely as they do now. And it so happened her mother-in-law stayed with her, who had a 5 to 6-year-old child when she had a 1-year-old child. So, the mother-in-law was already widowed. There was a bond between them, and so they lived and gave comfort to each other. Whatever she used to cook, she come out perfectly and very tasty. That also, even if you know the recipe well, some people when they do, the taste enhances. So she started sending letters to a lot of newly wed bride, like, how to do this recipe. They used to ask her. People used to go to Mumbai a lot. That those days, they used to migrate a lot. So if they are in distant places, neither the mother is nearby nor the mother-in-law was nearby. So whom to consult? Mostly she used to help for all the functions. So all this, we have a lot of Seemandams, then Samaradhane functions, all the birthdays. They used to cook at home. The caterer again was not available those days. Like we have so many caterers now. Those days only relatives used to help. Her uncle, he said, why don't you publish it as a book? And it was not any commercial angle and all. But just, a loud thought. She sold her jewelry. She invested in that. Slowly it grew. They printed and the first copy sold like hotcakes. It wasn't like that. Okay. Cookbook was unheard of. That was number one. But slowly, the kind of setup from the rural to urban migration. So the social changes, lot of societal changes happen, and women started, getting educated more, spending less time in the kitchen. So all that, culminated in the promotion of the book. But again, those days the women changed role into a responsible, like earning role, but they had to still mind the kitchen.
Correct.
Their role as a primary caretaker or a person who prepares food was compulsory. You go to work, yes, but at that time. But you have to manage the kitchen and, give meals like every 3 times a day. I mean, you have to somehow manage it. So that helped them, to go through the book and, do all the, make all the 3 meals, perfect ones, like, So that's the thing.
Meenakshi Ammal's recipes are back in vogue today, with a number of restaurants getting rather chic in decor, but going back to the roots when it comes to recipes. Let's you and I do the same. Let's talk about the traditional sambar and also that lingering question. What was the first sambar like? Well, it was tasty, but it wasn't one dish. It was 2 or 3. You see, sambar as it is eaten today evolved over time, but there have been recipes like it from millennia ago. For example, the word supa finds mention in the Jain monk Hemachandra's writings from 1,000 years ago. It meant broth, which may or may not be spiced, typically any dal cooked in water. That's half a sambar for you. And yeah, supa does sound familiar, doesn't it? Taittidikam meant a preparation of tamarind sauce. This is from 870 AD in a book written by a Jain monk Saktayana. About 100 years later, Somadeva, another Jain poet and monk from Bengal who lived in South India, describes the food of the rich people of the Deccan. White shining rice, broths of golden color, butter, curries, well-cooked savory dishes, thick curds, milk, milk rice, sweets and water perfumed with camphor. You see, the fact that Somadeva has written about broths of golden color in the 10th century means that Sambar has existed from much earlier. Now, before we talk about the very popular, most probably fake legend of Sambar's connection with the Marathas of Tanjore, here's how to actually make this broth of golden hue. Kannan, a businessman and professional who spent decades in the Middle East, is also a passionate foodie, and I can vouch for his gastronomic brilliance.
சாம்பார் அப்படின்னா எல்லாரும் ரொம்ப வெரி ஈஸி ரெசிபி, ஸோ அது ஒன்றும் பெரிய விஷயம் ஒன்றும் கிடையாது அப்படின்னு நார்மலாக நினைப்பாங்க. பட் we can add different taste on the sambar. ஸோ ஒரு 3 வகையான சாம்பார்.
Here's a brief on 3 types of sambar. In the traditional sambar, soak a marble-sized ball of tamarind in water for an hour.
Vegetable
You can add any vegetables you like, drumstick, chow chow or radish, or pumpkin if you want to keep it really traditional. Saute it in some oil slightly and then pour in the tamarind water. Once it starts to boil,
we add spices,
chili powder, jeera powder and coriander powder, and let it come to a boil again. Cook tur dal separately, not into a mush but just about, where it still retains some shape. Add it to the spiced tamarind water just as it comes to a boil and simmer for 2 minutes. Remove from the flame. In a tablespoon of ghee and sesame oil mixed together, fry mustard seeds, jeera, a teaspoon of urad dal, a teaspoon of asafoetida and temper the sambar. Add coriander and curry leaves right at the end and
போட்டு எடுத்தோம்னா the traditional sambar is ready. ரெண்டாவது வந்து இந்த ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார்னு ஒன்று வந்து we used to have it for idli, vadai அந்த மாதிரி கொஞ்சம் லிக்விடாக இருக்கும், அதே சமயம் வேற மாதிரி டேஸ்ட்டாக இருக்கும்.
In a hotel sambar too, the proportions are more or less the same. Saute shallots, small onions in some sesame oil and ghee and keep aside. In a cooker, add equal parts tur dal and moong dal, 3 cups of water and cook well. Transfer to a saucepot and add the tamarind water, the sauteed onions and the ground pudi. This pudi consists of chana dal, some coriander seeds, some coconut shavings and dried chilies, all dry roasted and ground to a powder. Add this powder right at the end when the sambar is almost cooked and then temper with mustard seeds, jeera and curry leaves.
போட்டுட்டு இறக்கி வச்சு அதில் கடுகு ஜீரகம் தாளிச்சு கொட்டினா இட்ஸ் லைக் a hotel sambar. The மூணாவது வந்து
the third variety is the vattakozhambu sambar. This needs more tamarind. The first 2 sambars require very little tamarind, about the size of a marble. This one needs a lemon-sized ball. In the tamarind and water, add half a tablespoon of red chili powder, 1 heaped spoon of sambar powder, coriander and jeera powder, 1 spoon each, and half a spoon of turmeric, asafoetida, about a teaspoon, coriander and curry leaves. Add drumstick or radish or diced onions to this mix and let the whole thing soak for about an hour. In a saucepot, temper mustard seeds and jeera in a bit of oil and ghee and pour in this tamarind water mix. As it begins to reduce, add cooked tur dal and 2 spoons of the ground podi we used in the hotel sambar and remove from flame.
இறக்கி வச்சிங்கன்னா வேற டேஸ்ட் இருக்கும். ஸோ இந்த 3 சாம்பாருமே 3 விதமான டேஸ்ட் வரும். ஒன்று ட்ரெடிஷ்னல், ஒன்று வந்து ஹோட்டல் சாம்பார், ஒன்று வந்து வெத்த குழம்புல சாம்பார். இது 3 ட்ரை பண்ணி பாருங்க, சூப்பராக இருக்கும்.
Once upon a time in Tanjore city, the Marathas reigned under King Shahuji. The dynasty was set, but after Shivaji's death, Aurangzeb made naught of their gaiety. But Tanjore was old as cities go, and girded and fortified to the T. As things stood, when it was time for food, it had time enough to make history. The son of Shivaji, who vanquished his foes, Sambhaji, came up visiting, as the legend goes. It was time for lunch, and the cook on a hunch laid out amsul and pulis and ragda patties. But when it came to the rice and amti, the astringent broth of the hog plum tree, the cook was at a loss. He confessed to his boss that his stocks of kokum were frankly empty. Sambhaji's stomach growled and he glared. The lavish spread fell short, the feast felt bare. Shahuji had had enough. From king he turned to chef. Into the kitchens he went like Gordon with a cuss and a swear. He squeezed some soaking tamarind and filtered the rind and made amti with some veggies and imaginations fecund. Sambhaji was happy. The new dish raised the bar, and as he burped in pleasure, Shahuji named it Sambar. So, did the Marathas give us the sambar? Tanjore city or Tanjavur city is famous for its Brihadishwara temple, which was built by Rajaraja Chola in 1000 AD. How the name Tanjore came to be is shrouded in the mists of history, but it could have something to do with Tanjan, the name of a demon who haunted the locality and was destroyed by Lord Vishnu. His dying wish was that the city be named after him. Well, if you're not into this story, here's another one. The word Tanjam in Tamil means refuge. So Tanjavur means city of refuge. Works? You see, the influence of the Marathas in South Indian cuisine, specifically Tamil and Kannadiga, is undeniable. They gave us the Puran Poli, which we proudly call Poli with a hard L, or Holige in Karnataka. But I don't think we got the Sambar from them, except maybe the name. Shahuji, the second Maratha ruler of Tanjore, probably named it after Sambaji, the guest of the day. But the recipe itself has been around not just in the feasts of South India, but in the north during the Vedic era as well. In its present form, it finds mention in a Kannadiga book written in 1648. As a predominantly rice-based society that's also not into too much of hotness in their broths, the sambar was an ideal fit for Tamil, Keralite and Kannadiga cuisine. In Andhra, you'll still find the sambar split into the bland dal and the very very spicy pulusu that'll make you squint with its tang. The end for now. I'm sorry if I sound ominous, it's just that all this talk of sambar now has me seeing imaginary idlis swirling around my head. There's a plate full of rice with a bowl of sambar next to it, and there's a crispy dosa waiting for me. Oh, someone is pouring sambar all over it. I'm coming, my dear sambar vada. Wait for me, don't roll away. Apologies, I digressed for a bit. I tell you about a recipe for sambar that's made with whole milk that came into vogue in the early 30s, but let's not spoil a good thing. If you're as hungry as I am, check out the rest of the episodes on Spotify, Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. And until next time, thank you for listening.